Whew. Hey guys, welcome to another one of the NZ Pocket Guide live session where we take actually a full hour to answer all your questions about traveling in New Zealand, because we consider ourselves as the expert of traveling in New Zealand. But Laura, why are we the expert? Oh, this question is funny every time.
Yeah.
Laura,
always a good intro.
Why are we the experts?
So this is Robin and I'm Laura, and we're the team behind New Zealand's largest travel guide, NZPocketGuide.com, which is an absolutely free website for you guys to plan your trip to New Zealand. Whether you're doing just a 2-week camper van road trip around the North Island and the South Island, or if you're doing a full year doing a working holiday visa, we literally have thousands of articles on there for you guys to help plan your trip. So, but if you're not really into reading loads of, thousands of words, then we do this live Q&A session for you guys as well here on YouTube at every single Sunday, 8 a.m. New Zealand time. So you guys can come onto the live chat and ask your questions. Robin, what time is that around the world?
All right, we updated the time. We received some messages from you guys saying that the time were wrong. But if you join us on a Saturday in the UK, it should be 7 p.m. If you join us on a Saturday in France, it will be 8 p.m. In the USA, it should be Saturday 2 p.m. EST and 11 p.m. PST. If you're in India, we're moving on to Sunday at 12:30 a.m. And if you're in Australia, it should be Sunday bright and early at 6 a.m.
Yeah, and if you do have any questions throughout the week, we do also compile a list of questions right here. So if you have any questions, just put it in the comments section of any of our YouTube videos. And we also take the time to go through each of those questions during our live Q&A sessions. But the best place to ask your questions is right now on the live chat, so we can actually answer them for you directly right now.
All right, so while you guys are getting warmed up and saying good morning, telling us if the times were correct, make sure to tell us if the time were correct, and hitting the like button to thank us for all the hard work. We're going to go through questions we received during the week. Do you want to read this one?
For sure. Is that because you can't pronounce the name?
No, I cannot pronounce your name. I'm sorry.
Laurencia, I think.
One.
So Laurencia Kurinwa on YouTube asked, "Greetings from Indonesia experts. I was wondering if the Franz Josef heli hike can't be operated due to weather conditions. What are the alternatives to see snow in the South Island during late May to early April? Thank you."
All right, so a lot of people actually come to New Zealand with the hope to see snow. There is a lot of people that just don't have snow in their country. And the good thing is that New Zealand actually has snow all year round. So there is always a shot to be able to see the snow, which is quite awesome. And there is plenty of options. Most of your options are going to be on the South Island to see the snow.
Especially between those dates, like you were suggesting, outside of winter, between October and April, the South Island is where you're going to see the most
exactly
snow. Yeah.
So the first thing that you can be doing to go get some good picture shot and go taste the snow of New Zealand is to head to the mountains. So the great thing is the South Island of New Zealand has a massive mountain range running all the way through it. Basically, that's what created the South Island, and it's called the Southern Alps. So pretty much anywhere on the Southern Alps, you will see some snow. But some really awesome activities to do, and you mentioned it, is to actually go hike on glaciers and around all those areas. So there is not just Franz Josef Glacier. There is actually 3 glaciers on which you can do heli hike on. So if the weather is too bad in Franz Josef, you can head to Fox Glacier, which is only, what would you say, about an hour?
No, it's about 20 minutes down the road.
Okay,
so,
20 minutes. Oh, yeah, that's true.
20
minutes drive down the road from Franz Josef Glacier, so you're really not too far. And there's also another glacier, which is on the other side of the mountain, so it's quite far away from it, but it may be in your itinerary, and it's in Mount Cook. There is the Tasman Glacier there, and you are able to do a glacier heli hike there, and you'll see some snow again. So there is 3 options, so you're not just limited to Franz Josef Glacier. But if you just want to see snow, there is plenty of other options.
Yeah, so if the weather is bad in Franz Josef, then like Robin says, there is the Fox Glacier just 20 minutes down the road. Perhaps the next day after you've been in Franz Josef, you want to head down to Fox Glacier. And like Robin says, you can do heli hiking there, but there's also the option to do skydiving there, where you get to have some amazing views of the Southern Alps and even Mount Cook, which is the highest mountain in New Zealand. And yeah, you get amazing views as you're skydiving. This doesn't give you the opportunity to actually stand on the snow, but you will definitely see a lot, and you'll probably get one of the best views of the snowiest regions in the South Island.
So speaking of best views of snowy regions, as well as seeing a lot of snow, if you take a scenic flight around the Southern Alps, and there are some departing from Mount Cook and there are some departing from Lake Tekapo, you're definitely going to see a ton of snow, because the planes tend to go kind of straight away toward the mountains, and you'll be able to see beautiful snowy peaks, and more than just one. And you're probably going to also see Mount Cook from a very awesome angle, which is from the air, which not that many people get to see. And Mount Cook is New Zealand's tallest mountain, and it has snow on it all year round, and like a lot of it. And it's an amazing flight. And the good thing as well is that those scenic flights from Lake Tekapo and from Friend Joseph are actually some of the cheapest scenic flights you can do in New Zealand. So it's a pretty good and cheap option to see ton of mountain, ton of snow without breaking the bank too much. It's still a scenic flight. It's still not that cheap, but it is a pretty good option.
Yeah. All right. So moving on to Queenstown. So in Queenstown, there's lots of other opportunities to go on and take helicopters, scenic flights in like fixed wing planes. And the most popular trip really is to go over to Milford Sound, which if you take the bus, this is like a full day. It's like to get there and back, it will take about 8 hours of your day. But to fly over, it's literally about, I think, half an hour to 20 minutes to half an hour. Yeah. So as you're flying from Queenstown to Milford Sound, you get to go over some pretty awesome mountainous regions and get to see some snow, which is what this is all about.
It will take you longer to drive from Queenstown town to the airport rather than actually flying to Milford Sound. It's that fast.
So if you're taking sort of like a fixed wing aircraft, then there's not going to be opportunity to land on the snow. You're just going to get to see the scenery on the way. And they do landings in Milford Sound. There's a little airport there, and then you can actually take a cruise from there and do your whole Milford Sound experience. But alternatively, there are helicopter tours that can take you onto the mountains, and they actually do snow landings. So if you actually do want to actually get onto the snow and, I don't know, throw some snowballs or something, then that is the option to go for helicopters, because they can actually land in some pretty crazy places.
Yes, they can. They definitely can. And actually, we do have a video of that in New Zealand's biggest gap here, don't we?
Well, we do have that for the Tasman Glacier. So as Robin was explaining before, there's the different glaciers that you can do heli hiking on. And yeah, the helicopters can land on the snow. But also there are ski planes in the Tasman, in the Mount Cook National Park area. So you can go to Mount Cook, take a ski plane, and it actually lands on New Zealand's largest glacier, and you get to land at the top of the glacier where there's loads of snow around. And yeah, that's another way to sort of touch down on the snow. You know, it doesn't take hours to hike there, which it would normally do for people, and you'd have to be like an experienced mountaineer to get to these places. But yeah, being able to land on the snow at any time of the year is pretty awesome. And we do have a video of that experience. So if you go onto YouTube and search ski plane NZ Pocket Guide, you will get to see us actually doing that experience for ourselves.
Yeah, and you see exactly what it looks like.
Yeah.
All right, and so the last place where you can see snow in New Zealand, in the South Islands at that time of the year, Laura didn't want me to write it down. She was mocking me for writing it down, but you can see snow there. It is just a little bit of a ridiculous idea, but it is the Antarctic Center in Christchurch. So it's a big museum dedicated to the exploration of the Antarctic, because Christchurch is a kind of like a base and a hub for all the exploration that goes down there, because it's like so close to it. And so in there is an exhibition which actually makes you feel like you're in the Antarctic. So you basically walk into a big fridge and they drop the temperature. They give you like big jackets and everything, and then they drop the temperature really low. And I
think it's like the experience is like experience minus 18 degrees. So there is snow in there, but you know, you're basically going to walk into a container, refrigerated box. Yes.
And yeah, that's where you get to see snow, but you get to see snow. So
it might be fake snow, but it's still snow.
so she didn't want me to put it on the list, right? But I definitely think it should. I mean, it it is a way to see snow on the South Islands when it's not winter. So here you go.
Yeah.
Now, the last thing that we wanted to mention just before we finish talking about the snow on the South Island is that even in winter, when you are on the coastal areas of the South Island, you don't necessarily have snow all the time. It's not going to be completely blanketed, covered of snow, right? Because usually what affects the temperature is the warmth of the sea as well. When you're really close to the sea, it kind of melts the snow really quickly. So on average, obviously you can have like a really bad winter and everything like that, but on average, you will get to see snow in New Zealand, in the South Island, mostly in the mountain, even in winter. So don't expect, if you're traveling in winter, to have snow covering everything at all time. It won't be the case.
Yeah.
Just putting, a bit.
Yeah, a lot of people
right,
do worry about coming to New Zealand in winter and thinking it's just going to be completely snow everywhere. Yeah. They're scared about driving on snowy roads, but you won't really experience snowy roads unless you really go to some mountainous regions. So you can often travel the whole of the North and the South Island without seeing snow when you're traveling in winter.
And that doesn't mean that you shouldn't know and get snow chain when you drive with hiring your car. That doesn't mean that you should drive a little bit slower if it gets really cold, because icy roads are a thing in New Zealand and happen really, really often. It's just like thick layers of snow are not necessarily going to be the thing.
Of course, always take some safety precautions though when you're driving in winter weather.
God, we are so boring. Anyway, so I hope that this was useful for you guys if you are looking for some snow in the South Island and it's not winter. Again, when is winter in New Zealand?
Winter is between June and August.
Exactly. And if you're not within those months, it's not winter. But if you want to see snow in New Zealand and it's not winter, this is your options. Now, if you did find this video useful, click like, hit subscribe, do all these good things. It's a great way for you guys to say thank you for all our hard work. So here you go. Let's go back to the live chat. Carly Munoz, how are you doing? That's been a while. She said, no, it's been a while. That's been a week. You were here last
it
week.
Feels like a long time.
Yeah, I know. Hi, guys. I'm at work, but I just wanted to say hola. Clay, Brian says, good morning, guys. Good morning, Clay. How are you doing? I think Clay is from Australia, so it's the morning for him. Sorry, from New Zealand, so I think it's the morning for him as well. Calimino says, any advice on the coronavirus? Something has changed. I'm freaking out. This will ruin in some way our trip. So I'll give you some advice in a minute. I'm just going to keep going with the live chat, but we have something to read actually that we were planning on reading today. So we will read that in about 2-3 minutes. I'm just going to go through the live questions. Alison Turner says, good morning, guys. Good morning, Alison. How are you doing? Are you planning your trip to New Zealand? Daryl Cabrera says, hi, good morning, guys. Yeah, good morning from the Philippines here. Oh, that's nice. How warm is it in Manila today? Hope it's warmer than here. It's kind of a cool summer day today. It says, any best place to recommend doing bungee jumping? Thank you. I always watch your video. We actually have a video where we actually talk about all different bungee jumping places in New Zealand. So if you just type bungee and then NZ Pocket Guide, you'll find it. But if I were to pick one right now on the top of my head, I think I will pick the Nevis, which is in Queenstown, because it's one of the highest and probably the most popular. And you can also do a catapult thing, which is quite crazy. But if you ask me on another day, my taste may change. Which one would you pick?
I think today I'm going to go for the Taupo bungee.
Oh, yeah.
You can do a water touch. It's over a river, so you can touch the water as you're bungee jumping. But do remember to close your eyes when you're doing that, because we did have someone on the live chat last week saying they did it with their eyes open, face first into the water, and ended up getting 2 black eyes. So that's probably the number one tip to give. Close your eyes as you are going to the water while bungee jumping.
Nice. Okay, so Rack81710 says, hi, guys. This is Ashwin from India. Last year, I visited almost all the places, of which I just love Tea now. I need a big help. I am planning to move to New Zealand permanently. My main job is online only. I am planning to live permanently in Tea now. Your suggestion and advice, please. So if you're asking us a question about immigration in New Zealand, the law is that you have to be a registered immigration advisor to give immigration advice. And so for this reason, it's actually illegal for you to give you any immigration advice. So if you have questions about Te Anau, like things to do or stuff like that, something about traveling in New Zealand, we're very happy to help, but we do not have the right to talk about immigration per se. So yeah, we can only give very generic advice, and that's just because that's the law in New Zealand. But if you do want some answer for your immigration question, you can contact Immigration New Zealand through their website. So it's immigration.govt.nz, and they're pretty good at that. Alison Turner says, yes, we are landing hopefully in a week on Wednesday in Auckland. So excited, lots of stuff planned. Yeah, that's going to be awesome. How long are you going to spend in New Zealand, and what are you going to do? Like you say, you have a lot planned, but like how many? I want to know. Manny Rodriguez says, we'll be in Napier for a day. I need ideas. Yeah, go try some wine, go visit the prison, and if you want to exercise a little bit, go surf with Frank.
That's not in Napier.
It's not.
That's in Gisborne.
Gisborne. Oh, it's not too far. Don't go surf with Frank then. Yeah, go visit the prison and go taste some wine. What else do you want them to do in Napier?
You can go and do the Art Deco walk, or there's some Art Deco tours. If you haven't heard that, Napier is the Art Deco capital of New Zealand. So you can go on some guided walks with the Art Deco Center, which will tell you all the history about Napier, which did suffer from a huge earthquake quite a few years ago, and they sort of rebuilt the city in this really funky way. So you can go and learn all about that on that tour.
All right. So going back to Carly's question about the coronavirus. So yeah, everybody has heard about this virus by now. I mean, it has been taking over kind of the whole world. And so Carly says, I need advice on the coronavirus. Something has changed or not. I am freaking out. This will ruin my trip in some way. So in New Zealand, only this week, we actually had our first case of coronavirus. That person was placed into a reversed pressurized room. So they're basically completely isolated. So far, New Zealand is pretty safe. However, like most nations, New Zealand has taken some steps in order to try to avoid the spread of the pandemic in the country and try to keep both its citizens and its travelers safe. So they have put some precaution, and I'm literally going to read from the official website, so like that you get just the right thing. And again, this is the actual kind of last update that we've had as of 8:16 a.m. on the 1st of March 2020. So things may change from now, but just in case, you guys need to know this. So coronavirus updates, Immigration New Zealand's response. As part of its response to managing the COVID-19, also known as a novel coronavirus outbreak in New Zealand, the New Zealand government has extended the travel restriction for some foreign travelers to Tuesday, the 3rd of March, 2020. So this will be reassessed on the 3rd of March. So here it says, as part of its response to managing the COVID-19 outbreak, the New Zealand government has travel restriction in place for some foreign travelers. This decision will be reviewed every 48 hours, and the government will decide on or before Tuesday, 3rd of March, 2020, whether the travel restriction needs to remain in place. These restrictions apply to any foreigners who have been present in or transited through Iran or mainland China or any other notified country 14 days prior to them departing for New Zealand. Mainland China, including all of China, but not Hong Kong SAR and Macau SAR, and not Taiwan. So that basically means that if you have booked, like in kind of plain term, right? Yeah. If you have booked a flight, and let's say you're flying with China Airline and you're transiting through Beijing, then the restrictions that we're going to be talking about are actually going to apply to you, right? And it's the same thing for Iran as well. So just keep that in mind, and it's valid 14 days before traveling to New Zealand. So if you went to China, let's say a month ago, so far that doesn't apply to you again. These definitely can change, but yeah, so far the restrictions are applying to you. If you
Where do you actually find the information for? Is that on the immigration website for New Zealand?
There is a big sign for coronavirus. Just click on there. Yeah.
So if you guys want to get updates on the coronavirus issue from it, like how New Zealand is handling it, what it means for travel restrictions, the best place to go is onto the Immigration New Zealand website. Right at the top of the website, they have like a big red banner at the top where there'll be a link on the top of there where you can get the most up-to-date information. So that's probably the best place to go for that sort of question.
Yep. So another restriction that applies is that if you were a passenger on board of the Diamond Princess cruise ship operated by Princess Cruise or any other notified cruise ship within 14 days of disembarking the cruise ship. So if in the last 2 weeks you were on that specific cruise ship, then at that point you have travel restrictions. In short, you can't come to New Zealand.
Yeah.
All right, and then he says the decision to deny boarding or refuse entry to New Zealand does not apply to New Zealand citizen, permanent residents, residents with valid travel conditions, and their immediate family who will still be able to come to New Zealand. Australian citizens and permanent residents are also not subject to those travel restrictions if New Zealand is their primary place of established residence. However, if they have been present in or transited through mainland China or Iran within the last 14 days before departing for New Zealand, they will be required to self-isolate for 14 days from the time they arrive in New Zealand. That means basically you kind of have to stay home and you don't get the right to kind of go to too many places and everything. So they just rely on the willingness of individuals on that point. Immigration New Zealand is working with other government agencies to ensure a whole of government approach is being taken to manage this evolving situation. Immigration New Zealand's Beijing office remain temporarily closed. There will be an impact on visa processing time as a result. However, Immigration New Zealand remain committed to minimizing the impact on processing time as much as possible. Note, as the Beijing office is temporarily closed, visa processing may take longer than the time frame indicated on this website. We understand visa applicants and current visa holder may have some questions about their specific circumstances. Below are some information. And then you have like a bunch of general informations and everything. So we'll go through some of the very popular questions that we have received for the coronavirus quite a lot. So I'm just going to skim through. So there is a lot of them, but I'm just going to pick the one that we received quite a lot so that you guys get your answers straight away. So the first thing is how long are going to be those restrictions in place for? So a lot of people are asking us like, okay, I'm planning a trip to New Zealand in 3 months. This restriction will still apply to me. The real answer right now is they readjust everything every 48 hours. So there is no one that knows what will be in 3 months. Maybe the virus will be done and dusted with, so there is not going to be any restriction. Or maybe there's going to be pandemonium in the whole world and it's going to be the latest zombie apocalypse and we're all going to be fending for our lives. And anything in between. So we don't know right now, and the only thing that you can do is to kind of check the Immigration New Zealand website and see how it goes. It's just evaluated every 48 hours. So that's the first thing that we received quite a lot of. So there is a lot of people that also say, okay, I'm transiting through China, but I'm going to be going to other countries in between. Can I still come to New Zealand? So if you transit through China, and then you are visiting other countries for more than 14 days. So if your trip to China has been more than 14 days ago, then yes, you can come to New Zealand. That said, you may have a hard time finding other countries that will accept you to visit at this time, but that's just one of the things that you need to know. And the other thing that we received was about Australian people. So when you're Australian, if your permanent residence place is in New Zealand, because Australia and New Zealand have agreements, then at that point you are treated like a New Zealand citizen and you can come here, but you have to self-isolate. If your permanent resident place is in Australia, then you are subject to similar travel restrictions that other countries have. So that is basically where we stand in New Zealand with the coronavirus. It's not the most fun thing to talk about, but I know that you guys are asking a lot about it. So we thought we'd give you an update. Again, this thing will change every 48 hours. So this video will be obsolete in 48 hours. So don't panic too much and make sure to check out the Immigration New Zealand website for more information.
Yeah.
All right, let's go back to live chat to more fun stuff. Cool. Alison Turner says, yes, we are landing in a week. So excited, a lot of stuff planned. We already read all that. I'm way behind. Okay, Alison tells us what she's doing. She's going to go to Rotorua, to Matamata, to the Bay of Islands, to Oamaru, to Lake Tekapo, to Kaikoura, to Christchurch, to Waitomo, to Wellington, to Kaitoke Forest and Mount Tongariro, and not necessarily in that order. And they're transiting through Singapore carefully. Good. Cool. Just, put the mask and just enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
So it looks like you have a lot planned, Alison. How long are you coming here for? Are you staying here for a couple of weeks at least? Because that looks like a long drive.
That's a full itinerary there. Yeah. So we were starting from here.
Yeah. Then we have Kenneth Reed that says he's leaving tomorrow and is coming straight from Vancouver, hoping I don't go crazy on the 14-hour flight. We actually have an article on NZ Pocket Guide to help you with long flights, but yeah, you know, if you have a plan, you know, you just make sure that tonight, for example, either you go to bed really, really late or really, really early, but you break your cycle straight away.
Yeah.
And you should be good. And drink a lot of water. Seriously, don't get any of the juice, of the soda, of the alcohol.
Coffee.
Yeah, don't, you know, in a plane, every time they ask you if you want something, you say, yes, please, and you get some water. And if possible, try to avoid the plastic cup. So get your own little bottle of water and get them to refill it for you.
Yeah.
Just, you know, saving the planet. Manny Rodriguez says, what is the best show in Rotorua? There is actually quite a few. If you want the most convenient one, the Mitai is actually right in the city center, so it's very easy to access. It's a nice little Maori village. If you want probably the most popular one, is the Tamaki Maori village. They pick you up from town, so you bus shuttle over there and you go through the whole village and everything. And if you want one that's actually going to work with any itinerary, if you go to Tepuya, which is also a geothermal area, they do shows quite regularly throughout the day, so you don't have to just wait for the night. So here are 3 options for you.
Yeah.
Pick whichever you prefer. Alison Turner says, 1 week with my best friend from university. Wow. Oh, there's maybe the end.
Yeah.
The end of the story is going to come later. I think I missed some people beforehand. What was it?
Rack 81.
Oh, yeah. So Ashwin was saying it's all about Te Anau only, not about immigration. Te Anau is a nice little town. So Te Anau, it doesn't have like the ton of facilities. So mostly if you want like, you know, hospitals and even like more shoppings and everything, you'll go all the way to Queenstown. But there is still one supermarket in Te Anau.
Yeah.
It's a really lovely, super picturesque town. So you're definitely going to love it. If you're into hiking, you're going to love plenty of hikes around.
Absolutely.
Because you're right on the edge of the Fjorden National Park, which have some of the most epic hikes in the country.
Yeah.
As per, you know, you were saying your job is online. As per you talking about internet, the internet in Te Anau is not that great. So you'll have to just brace yourself and, you know.
It's probably going to be a little bit slower than what you're used to. But yeah, you'll be able to still work online. It's like the same for us. We do all our work from online from a small town in New Zealand. We can still, you know, do these live videos and stuff. But it is slower than, you know, a lot of other cities around the world. So just bear that in mind.
As long as you have patience, you'll be good. Because you also saw our videos, right? We did a feature on YouTube that we called New Zealand's Biggest Gap Year, when Laura and I challenged ourselves to do 365 days around New Zealand, tackling 365 activities. So we were in a camper van for a whole year, and we did activities every day, and we did videos every day and all that. And we had to deal with the internet on the go, and it was painful at times. But that's the thing. New Zealand is absolutely stunning. You can't have it all. You know? So you get the beautiful sceneries, you get the epic activities, and if you have to kind of, you know, brace yourself for the internet, you'll be all right.
Yeah, I think it's definitely worth it when you're surrounded by some amazing hikes and some amazing scenery, and basically the stuff that you want to come to New Zealand for is, especially if you're in Te Anau, all of that is right on your doorstep. So yeah, I think it will be definitely worth waiting a little extra longer for the internet.
Exactly. So Alison Turner is telling us that she's traveling around New Zealand for 1 year with a friend that she hasn't seen for 23 years.
Wow.
She's in Auckland doing the Pacifica Festival as well. Oh, that's
cool.
so cool. Wow, 23 years and you're going on a 1 week trip. I wish you have enough time to catch up. You know, so many people, they catch up over coffee.
That's going to be a lot. That is going to be like a week-long conversation of catching up.
That's so cool. That's really awesome. You're going to love it. So if your friend is doing the Pacifica Festival, I'm guessing she's from one of the South Pacific Islands, like Fiji or Tonga or Samoa or Niue. Or
maybe by saying doing the Pacifica Festival, you mean like just going to be a spectator. But,
wow, that's really awesome, man. You're going to love that. Eze Kanayo. Oh, I'm really sorry about butchering your name. But Eze Kanayo says, good morning, bro. If I get NZ working permit, can I travel to Australia? So New Zealand and Australia have agreements in between. So it will depend on which visa you're getting. It will depend on where you're from originally. So there is a lot of different conditions. And there is a law in New Zealand that says that if you're not a registered immigration advisor, you do not have the right to give immigration advice. So for this reason, we legally do not have the right to answer your Immigration New Zealand question. However, if you go to immigration.govt.nz, you'll be able to contact Immigration New Zealand directly, and they'll be able to answer all your questions. So just make sure that when you send them a message, you give them as much information as possible so they can answer your question kind of in the first try. If you have to do back and forth communication, it always takes forever.
Yeah.
Alison Turner says, could do with ideas for a good stop between Lake Tekapo and Kaikoura with my juicy van. Ooh, between Lake Tekapo and Kaikoura, there is quite a lot in between. So, Laura, what would you pick?
So one place you could go to is a town called Geraldine. If you're into doing like some really awesome activities, there's two really cool things to, well, there's actually quite a lot of things to do there when you think about it. But there's a really cool horse trek called Peel Forest Horse Trekking, taking you up onto some mountains. And they even give you some snacks and stuff. So when you are going on your horse up on the mountains, you get to have a beer and some snacks at the top, which is, it's a pretty cool place to sort of like kick back with your horse.
Can I say the next activity, please?
Yes.
So the next activity that you have in Geraldine is called Rangitata rafting. So it's a rafting trip on the Rangitata River, which is probably the most epic whitewater rafting trip that you can get in New Zealand and probably in the whole world. It's my favorite whitewater rafting trip in the whole country. It's really like raging rapids. The guides are giving you a hell of a time, and you go through stunning canyons, as well as even you start in even some country style plains and everything. It's just, you just see so many different landscape of New Zealand all in one trip. And it's just a unique location. It's a rafting that is quite off the beaten track, so not that many people get to do, but it's so worth doing. And Laura was telling you about beers and stuff when you do the horse trekking. Well, you get a whole barbecue at the end of this rafting when you finish to warm up. So definitely worth doing. Rangitata rafting. If there is one stop I will do in between Tekapo and Kaikoura, that is definitely that.
But also in Geraldine, you can go, there's like stargazing tours, there's canyoning tours. It's one of those towns that really doesn't get like, no one's ever heard of, but there's actually a ton of stuff to do there. So,
but the whitewater rafting is really epic.
Yeah, the whitewater rafting's sort of the main thing to do there.
So if you want to know if you're up for the task, you can type Rangitata, so it's Rangitata, and then you type NZ Pocket Guide, and you'll find a video of us doing that, and you'll see how epic that whitewater rafting is. So that's the one I will suggest personally.
And also between Lake Tekapo and Kaikoura is the city of Christchurch, which is the largest city in the South Island. I mean, if you want to do a few stops along the way. So if you want to check out Christchurch, a good place to stock up on supplies for your road trip, but also check out some really stunning gardens they have there. The Botanic Gardens is really awesome to check out. They have like free museums. The Canterbury Museum is there, which is free to go to. So there's a couple of cool stuff to do in Christchurch as well.
Cool. Anuj Ak says, hi guys, planning to meet you guys soon. Surprise!
No.
May Almighty bless you both, Andrew from India. Surprise! How are you doing? When are you coming to New Zealand? You were telling us a few weeks ago that you were traveling to New Zealand, which is quite cool. So when is your trip?
Yeah.
And also, what do you?
When can we expect to meet you?
When is this? We don't like surprises. When is the surprise? No, I'm joking. We love surprises. Actually, Laura went to tackle the Tongariro Crossing yesterday, and some people actually catch up with her. So. Sadly, if you were the person that met Laura yesterday on the Tongariro Crossing, she forgot your name. So she says hi, but she forgot your name. So she's very sorry.
And also, I want to make sure that he actually got over the crossing okay, because the weather was absolutely horrific on the Tongariro Crossing. And our group actually made the decision to turn back because...
So did you make it through?
Yeah.
Or does she need to come and get you somewhere on the crossing?
But that goes to show that, you like the crossing, like there's a lot of sort of like signs everywhere saying like it's okay to turn back now if the weather's too bad, and a lot of people did make that decision yesterday because the weather was atrocious. But I did see a lot of people still plowing on, and apparently the whole crossing was completely white anyway. You wouldn't have even seen anything. So I kind of feel like if there's any indication that it might be dangerous to keep on going and you're not going to see anything, you might as well turn around and just stay safe. So
this is an appeal to you, mystery Tongariro Crossing man. We want to know if you're alive and if you're good. So tell us if you see this video. Anyway, jokes aside, where were we on all that? Alison Turner say no, they are just visiting. Her friend is originally from Poland. That's a little bit less exotic than Samoa.
Yes,
Poland.
No. So she's not participating in the Pacifica Festival.
None the less exotic. Just a little bit less exotic. All right. So Ashwin says, thank you guys for your valuable tips about Te Anau. Any place you people suggest with good internet, preferably any town, please. you're not coming to New Zealand for good internet. Like even in Auckland, they do. Like Auckland is the place where you will have one of the best internet. Dunedin has actually decent internet as well. But
these are more cities rather than towns.
Exactly. So first they are cities, and second, it's still good for New Zealand standards, right? It's not as good. New Zealand only has like 1 or 2 cable that bring the internet to the whole country. So we have to make do with that. So you're always gonna have like way slower internet than what you used to in like, India has really good internet, China has really awesome internet, Japan has extremely fast internet, USA, Europe, everybody has really good internet, but we are on small islands. So any places with good internet that we can recommend anywhere else than New Zealand. You come into New Zealand for something else than the internet. But yeah. Sorry, we just know a lot about that since we work online mostly. So it's kind of like we made the trade and we're happy to be patient with the internet. It's just you've got to know that. You
can definitely still make an online business work. Yeah. So don't think that it's going to be on the opposite side of things, thinking that you're not going to be able to run your business or whatever. That you usually will be able to. Just like we say, don't expect it to be super fast all the time.
Yeah. So Alison Turner says the husband wants to do luge in Rotorua. Yeah, that's definitely really fun.
That's awesome.
You saw a video of that, right? It's really fun. Yeah. Make sure that you can even pass, because once is never enough.
Yes, you want to do it at least 5 times. You need to warm up. There are 3 different tracks for the Rotorua luge, and once you get onto the most advanced track, you kind of just want to keep on going.
Manny Rodriguez says, is whitewater rafting on Sunday only? Is Rotorua or Tongariro Falls for 7 meters drop waterfalls? No, so you can do whitewater rafting every day, especially in Rotorua. So if you guys don't know, in Rotorua, you have the highest commercially whitewater rafting in the world, which is 7 meters high. If you are from the USA, it's many feet high. Because I do not know those conversions and I do not understand the imperial system. So it's quite tall. And it's probably one of the most popular whitewater rafting area in the country, just because it's also quite a short one. So you can hop in Rotorua, do it, and you still have some time in your afternoon to do other activities. So it's kind of like, it's a good thing to jam pack in your jam pack itinerary in Rotorua. And so for that reason, there's quite a few operators that do that. There is, I think, 4 different.
I think there's about 4 different operators.
So I think there's 4 different operators that operate on that river. So it's called the Kaituna River. And definitely epic to do, and no, it's operating every day of the week. I think if anything, they have like a minimum amount of people. So if they only have 1 person booked, then they're not going to do the tour. So I think they need at least 6 people to fill up 1 raft. But most of the time they have it. I mean, I've rarely heard of like cancel for the whole day.
It's such a popular trip that it's very unlikely that you won't have other people on your tour, and the trip is not likely to be cancelled. The only reason trips like whitewater rafting in Rotorua would be cancelled is due to severe weather events, but that's not really happening right now in New Zealand. So you should be good.
In short, you're gonna have a blast. It's pretty fun to do.
Yeah.
Alison Turner says she's shopping in Christchurch for 3 days before picking up the 3 days of shopping. That is a lot of shopping. Listen, if you're 3 days in Christchurch, we recommend that you shop only for 1 day and you take the remaining 2 days and you get yourself to Akaroa, to the Banks Peninsula, where you can see some amazing wildlife, some really mini like dwarf dolphin, mini penguins. Everything is mini over there.
Yeah, everything's like the world's smallest species of. There's the world's smallest species of dolphin there, and there's the world's smallest species of penguin there. So if you want to go see mini animals, that's the place to go.
Yeah. So yes, that's really cool to do there. Otherwise, there is the Canterbury Museum right in the city center of Christchurch, which is really awesome to visit, and there is some amazing botanic gardens. So check those things. Paul Fort Paramio says, have you been to the Cook Islands? Hi, how are you doing, Paul?
Hey.
So we can't say too much about the Cook Island, but you may hear more about the Cook Island in the next few months from us. That's all we're gonna say.
Basically, in short, we are going to the Cook Islands. We have not. Been to the Cook Islands, but if you come, come back on our live chat in a couple of months' time, maybe we will have some more information for you. But
spill the beans.
If you have any questions on Niue, Tonga, or Fiji, these are the South Pacific Islands we can definitely talk a lot about. Yeah.
Boo! Anyway, that was a secret, but now the cat's out of the bag. Carly say, haha, you made me laugh. What we can do in Wanaka apart from hashtag that Wanaka tree? I don't actually find activities around. Is it worth it? Laura,
we were actually having this conversation the other day because we know that, Wanaka is actually one of the sort of top sort of destinations in the South Island. But when it comes to activities, it's kind of like, what is there actually to do in Wanaka? So in Wanaka, you can do things like skydiving. There is Skydive Wanaka there. There's a wine tour you can do there, so you can go to one of the nearby vineyards, do a bit of wine tasting, that sort of thing. There's a few boat tours on the lake, so there's some nature tours, for instance, on the lake. They'll take you for a scenic boat ride, drop you off to do a little bit of a walk, and come back on the boat. You can hire kayaks. There's kayaking you can do on the lake, but there's also a river called the Clutha River, which comes off the lake. And there's a bit of like sort of kayaking and stand-up paddleboarding tours that you can do on there. So that's an option as well. If you're visiting in winter, there is a couple of ski fields nearby which offer beginners lessons, that sort of thing, if you're a beginner, or it's pretty cool to check out if you're experienced as well. And there's some of the best ski fields in New Zealand down there. But otherwise, there's hikes you can be doing as well.
Mountain biking as well.
Mountain biking, one of the closest walks to Wanaka, which is super popular. Everyone wants to do it, is Roy's Peak. It's kind of, to basically get to a peak with a...
In summer, you literally have to queue up to take your pictures.
So
this is
it's a very busy walk. So it depends on how you feel with, being surrounded by lots of people on the same walk as you. But Roy's Peak, you get to see some amazing scenery at the end. There's also the Mount Aspiring National Park nearby, which also has a variety of walks you can be doing as well. So if you do dig deep, there is some there are some activities available.
But
go ahead.
My opinion on Wanaka is that it's really kind of the place where you go to take a breather. Like usually you arrive in Wanaka after traveling on the west coast of New Zealand, after all the glaciers and all those amazing drives and everything like that. So sometimes you just need to catch your breath, have one day with not too much planned, and then after you can head to Queenstown where it's going to be like epically packed and everything. So it's kind of like, take a breather, stop in Wanaka. It's basically the way we see it and the way we see it when we travel around. So I think it's quite an important thing to do when you do a big road trip, when you spend weeks on the road in New Zealand or days driving and doing activities and driving and doing. I mean, trust us, we've done 365 days, 365 activities. When you have a couple of days to relax, cherish them. I just think it makes everything else in between much more enjoyable.
Yeah.
All right. Alison said that she wrote stopping and not shopping. So I need to clean my glasses. I'm a bit far from the screen and I'm getting old. So there you go.
Maybe we need to maximize the screen a bit.
JP Zappo says, hi guys. Hey man, how you doing? Oh man or woman, I don't know. Hey, how you doing? Kenneth Reed says, what are the best private hot pools for couples? So you have quite a few hot pools area around the Rotorua and Taupo area, and you can, on most of the places, you can hire private hot pools. So for example, the Polynesian Spa, they have some really good hot pools that you can hire, and you have beautiful view on the lake and everything, which is quite stunning. Another one in Rotorua that has private hot pools that you like?
Ooh, I'm not thinking of Rotorua for another one. I'm thinking of Franz Josef. There's the Glacier hot pools, and they do have some private hot pools sort of nestled in native forest in Franz Josef, that's a really nice sort of like private hot pools to do as well. Very different. And the last one I will put on the list is the hot pools in Omarama, which is on the east coast of the South Island, which has some really scenic one. And so you can get there, but it's quite off the beaten track. So I don't know if I will add that to my itinerary just for that hot pool. So I will pick one which is on my itinerary. So pick the one in either Franz Josef because it's already on an itinerary. Omarama is a town between Queenstown and Christchurch. So it's a place you would be passing if you were doing that route, for instance, which is very, very common for a lot of people traveling the South Island. So it's definitely worth making a note of those hot pools as well. So Omarama, Franz Josef, and Rotorua, that's the three places. I hope this is helpful to you, Kenneth. JP Zappo says, what about Dunedin nightlife, dancing clubs, bars with local bands? Yeah, hips. So one thing that you need to know about Dunedin is that aside from tourists going there,
one of the main industry, I'll say, is students. It's a massive student town.
Yeah.
There's ton of students there. So definitely clubs, bars, and way too much drinking. Dunedin is the place to be there. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's heaps of different bars over there that you're going to really enjoy, especially around the Octagon.
Yes.
So the Octagon is the actual kind of literally almost center of Dunedin, and so around there's heaps of bars. So just head there and just walk around and pick a bar, pick a nightclub, and just go and dance and drink.
And there will be local bands there as well, because it is, like Robin says, it is a student city. There tends to be a lot of entertainment for students, which, you know, they like local bands, so that's where you'll find them.
There you go. Mr. Faraday says hi. I'm sorry about the names. I'm sorry.
He says hi and sends lots of flowers.
Yeah,
that's
nice. I think the flowers are for you. Port Fort Parmio says, nice. I just wanted to know if you are allowed to fly a drone there. I read you actually cannot find drone into a national park, which I think is fair, but some places you can. So thanks anyway. So yeah, we actually started inquiring on that. Just don't pack your drone. In short, don't pack your drone. There is a lot of regulation. Don't bother with that. A lot of paperwork.
So not only in the national parks is it restricted, but also you have to ask the permission of the person that owns the property before you fly a drone, and you know you're not likely to meet the person that owns the properties everywhere.
Technically, the law is that you even need the authorization of everybody you fly above as well.
Yeah.
So
and if you're flying over council land, then each council will have their own regulations surrounding flying drones, and often you'll have to purchase a permit. It is very much a pain in the ass for having a drone in New Zealand. So I wouldn't take up the space in my suitcase bringing a drone.
Just so you also, each application costs a lot of money. Trust us, we do that often. All right, Carly Munoz says, okay, that makes sense. You read my mind. It's exactly what we were doing in Wanaka and then Queenstown. Thank you. You're very welcome. Look at that. Like-minded people right here. I like it, Carly. Also, you said you were at work. You've been watching us since 45 minutes. What have you been doing? Just, should I call you boss right now? What's going on right here?
That's usually like when you're on a trip, like when you're about to have a trip to New Zealand. Like I remember that before I came to New Zealand, I was actually at work secretly planning my trip, looking like I was doing something really important for the company.
You just get that other window just right here that just happens to just, shrink itself very quickly as soon as someone walks by. I don't know why. It's just actually this is when I learned the shortcut to shrink a window. I only learned that when I was trying to hide stuff. So yeah. All right. So Mr. Faraday says, remember, I asked a question about opening a bank account with a visitor visa. ANZ opens bank account for visitors also. Awesome. Great job.
Cool.
So yeah, that's a good news for you.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you guys want to know now, ANZ Bank, which is Australia New Zealand Banking, opens bank account for visitors visas. I think they will have like slight requirements of like the minimum amount of money you would be able to put in and what kind of use you're going to be doing in, because there is a lot of work at the moment between the banks and the governments to fight money laundering, which is basically how you can make money obtained illegally legal by just kind of washing it through different businesses and everything like that. So there is a lot of restriction on that. So depending on how many kind of transactions you're going to be doing and everything, you're going to be watched or not. So just be aware that there are some requirements that will apply when you open your bank account and that they're going to be checking for those things. Just to basically red flag any suspicious activity. So just be aware about that, guys. Mr. Faraday, give us a lot of thumbs up and some flowers. Paul says, thank you. You're very welcome, Paul. Sorry for the bad news. It's just, it's just actual personal experience right here. So, and actually, we do have a video about it. So if you type drone NZ Pocket Guide, you'll find like some of our tips on there. And Mr. Faraday says exactly the requirements that you said are correct. Hey, yay. I didn't say something wrong. That's pretty good. All right, so if you guys have some extra questions for us, we're still with you guys for about 10 more minutes. So just feel free to put them in the live chat. In the meantime, we are going to go through some questions that we received, on the YouTube comments. So the way you guys can send us questions, if you miss the live session, it's okay. Do not panic. If you miss the live session, you can put the question, your question in the comment of any of our YouTube videos. And at that point, we actually print them out and we get to answer them, just like that when we have a few minutes. So here you go.
Yeah.
Do you want to read this one as well?
Of course. Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so Sasith on YouTube asked, very useful video for me. And firstly, thank you. Let me know about Hamilton for students. Is it good for living? Are there any job opportunities?
All right, so going to study in Dunedin is in Hamilton. Hamilton is a great place for students. It's let's just talk about the lifestyle over there. Hamilton is super well located. It's not too far from Auckland, so if you do feel like you want some city life and everything,
more city life.
Yeah, more city life and everything. If you want to do a city escape in the weekend and everything, it's only kind of a short drive there. If you feel like you want to explore some epic places, you are not too far from the town of Raglan when you have some world-class epic surfing, which you're gonna love. Yeah. There is a ton of hike around. If you are into the New Zealand geekiness, you are not too far from Matamata, which has Hobbiton. And even if you wanted to explore the rest of the North Island, you're not too far off either. You're about 2 hours from Taupo, which is the center of the North Island. You're about 2 hours about 2 hours from Rotorua as well, where you can experience the Maori culture, all the geothermal landscape. You're about 2.5 to 3 hours from Tauranga, which is a kind of a coastal town with beach and everything like that. And you are about 2 hours from the Coromandel area, which has amazing epic hikes that you can do. You can do there as well. Yeah. So there's really a lot to do around Hamilton if you want to escape the city. If you're in the city itself, there is quite a few bars. There is a bit of city life. There is a lot of shopping areas and everything. And there is also some nice little strolls, like little area where you can walk. You are by the Waikato River, which is the longest river.
The mightiest river in New Zealand. It is the mightiest river in New Zealand.
The nickname of the Waikato River is the mighty Waikato. That's why I said the mightiest.
So it is the longest river in New Zealand, and it's a pretty big river. And there's in Hamilton, there's lots of walkways alongside the river as well. And so if you need to do a bit of commuting to get to your classes and stuff, then it's pretty nice. Yeah.
So basically, lifestyle in Hamilton, top notch. There is also a lot of shopping areas. There is a lot of supermarkets, so it's usually a little bit cheap. And there is 2 massive universities in Hamilton, meaning that it's quite a student kind of oriented town, meaning that, well, there are, bars where you can go out and everything, but also there are like cheap-ish accommodation. So you are able to find yourself a shared accommodation for quite cheap, or stay long-term in hostels for quite cheap as well. And you'll be able to go to the supermarket and literally just walk to the supermarket and come back with your shopping. And at that point, you'll be able to basically live on the cheap while studying in Hamilton. So, this is usually what students like to do. Mm-hmm. So you'll be able to get your noodles and, that's student life. We all ate noodles for all our student life. Everybody does that. And so lifestyle-wise in Hamilton, just getting started before we talk about jobs, lifestyle-wise in Hamilton, it's pretty nice.
Pretty nice. It's pretty easy.
All right. So talking about job in Hamilton, there is actually, as I mentioned, quite a few shopping centers around Hamilton, and that comes with retail jobs, which are perfect for students.
Yeah, so there's loads of different shopping centers around Hamilton. One of the largest shopping centers in New Zealand is actually in Hamilton. Lots of opportunity for doing the sort of thing like retail jobs and sort of like face-to-face customer service types of jobs as well. And also coming with that offers a lot of opportunity for hospitality work. So if you're, wanting to do maybe working in cafes, restaurants, even doing a bit of like hotel work, working in working in hotels and accommodations, there's all that's available in Hamilton. Like, it is like one of the largest cities in New Zealand, so the job opportunities are pretty huge, and you shouldn't have much trouble finding a sort of good sort of part-time job you can do along with your studies.
So to give you some specifics, if you wanted to do a little bit of research about Hamilton and those kind of jobs and those kind of areas, so the 3 main shopping centers and shopping areas in Hamilton are the Center Place, which is in the center of Hamilton, the Bays, which I think this one is the largest shopping center in New Zealand, so it's called the Bays, and the other one is the Chartwell shopping centers. So that's the 3 different places where you want to look for a job. And as when it comes to specific jobs, so in retail, you have available for all students and everything, the type of jobs like you can do all the deliveries, you can do warehouse jobs, you can do shelf stocking, you can do salesperson, you can do cashier, you can do prepping. So that's all prepping all the fruit and stuff if you work in supermarket and all those kind of things. So that's all the kind of retail job that you can have as a student in Hamilton. And when you walk around, you would see that most workers are really young. So you can tell that most of those jobs are for and by students. And when we talk about hospitality, so Hamilton has a lot of cafes, restaurants, but also hotels, because it also has a really big conference center. So it has some massive conferences, including one of the largest conferences in New Zealand, which is called the Field Days, which is a big farming conference, which is happening every year. And since New Zealand is a really big farming country, it's a really big thing. Yeah. So there is a ton of hotel and there is a ton of restaurants and cafes. So that includes jobs like dishwasher, a prep cook, a waiter, bus boy, a cashier again, and in the hotel it's how do you call it? It's not maids. What's the name?
Housekeeping.
Housekeeping.
Yes.
I forgot the word. Sometimes you have a blank and you're like, oh, what was that word? There. So housekeeping, but as well as front of house staff, concierge, and porter, and valet, and all those kind of things. So there is a wide range of kind of student jobs that you can be getting in Hamilton when kind of looking for students, and kind of a bit more short-term jobs, because that's not jobs where they're going to expect you to stay for super long there as well. I mean, they know that you're not going to be a busboy for the rest of your life, so you know that you're here only for a little bit. But with that said, make sure that you check out our videos on how to find a job in New Zealand, which should help you kind of get the ball rolling and actually have the proper CVs and do all those kind of things. It's really important to actually have the right approach on that. So yes, that's basically the life of students in Hamilton. Obviously, we really hope that you get the time to explore the country as much as you can, not just stick to Hamilton, because it is just a city and really doesn't represent what New Zealand is all about. But if you are studying anywhere in the world, coming to New Zealand is kind of a pretty good place. And again, Hamilton has 2 of the most major, of the largest university in New Zealand, just right there. So you are definitely going to be in the right environment. And yeah. Anything else to add about that? Just
to give you a quick sort of overview of the cost of living in Hamilton. So obviously it depends on what sort of you can get house shares. There's plenty of house shares in Hamilton where you basically just rent a room in the house, or you can obviously get a whole place to yourself, but most students would probably go for a house share. And rent is between 250 to 500 New Zealand dollars per week for a house or an apartment. So just to give you a sort of an idea of the sort of rent prices there.
Yeah. So here you go. If you do have any more questions, make sure to put them in the comments below. If you find this video useful, make sure to hit the like button. It's free for you, and we know students like things for free. So here you go. Click like because it's free, but it's also a free way to say thank you for all our hard work. Every time you guys click like, basically YouTube decides to suggest this video to someone else. So you basically help people by clicking like, by sharing more of our content and our knowledge about New Zealand, and it helps us get a bit more known, which is really awesome.
Yeah.
Any other questions, you can also head to nzpocketguide.com. Let's go back to the live chat. Before I read the comments, by the way, we also forgot to say thank you to all you guys. This week we actually reached 15,000 subscribers. Woo! So 15,000 subscribers of you guys. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Thank you so much.
That's an amazing community. We'll love that. All right. So Mr. Fahadi says about Vodafone and different plans, is prepaid plan expire after 1 month or after you used all the data? It's whichever comes first. So either you haven't used everything, but the time allowance of 30 days is over, then you lose the remainder, or you use all the data, and then at that point, well, you don't have any more. Even if there is 10 more days in the plan, you used everything. So it's whichever comes first. He also asked, about pay monthly plans? Is it available for visitors? Even people like us, which stay in New Zealand, the prepay are actually cheaper. So go for the prepaid.
It's always best to go for prepaid.
Yeah. So we use Skinny Prepaid, for example, and we find out way cheaper than any other plans.
Yes.
Mr. Fadi says, in Auckland Airport, are they available phone companies for buying SIM card, or should we buy them in the city center? They may be, but I mean, you'll get them in any supermarket. So just wait to be in the city center.
There's only like the I guess the major phone networks do have a presence at the Auckland Airport, and you will be able to get a SIM card at the Auckland Airport. But if you do your research and you realize that actually some of the smaller companies, the smaller phone networks do have some better deals, it is worth going to the city center so you can actually get the SIM cards for those companies.
Yeah. Alison Turner said, daft question. You see, I said daft, not draft. So sometimes I can read the correct word. So daft question. As I am diabetic, do bars, etc., tend to stock a variety of sugar-free drinks and mixes? Not for juice. So the juices here are so sweet, so sugary.
Yeah.
It's quite crazy. But for like any sodas and everything, they're always going to have like Coke Zero or those kind of things.
Yeah.
So you're always going to be able to get Coke Zero. You may not get, your variety is going to be quite shrinked. So yeah, just be aware of that. So start liking Coke Zero in short.
Yeah.
Did you agree with that?
I agree, yeah.
Ian May say, hello guys, I've been involved in procurement for about 14 years now. However, it seems to immigrate to New Zealand as a procurement manager, the New Zealand government site states that I have CIPS qualification. Can I waive this? Also, I'm very good at what I do, and I think I need a job offer soon. And you put his phone number. Okay, delete that comment. You don't want to put your phone number on the internet. Just delete that first. And second, so in New Zealand, there is a law that states that you have to be a registered immigration advisor with New Zealand Immigration in order to give immigration advice. Your question is about immigration, and we are not registered immigration advisor. For this reason, we do not have the right to give you immigration advice. We say that a lot on this channel. So sadly, you have to contact Immigration New Zealand to see with them if they can waive that for you. So feel free to head to immigration.govt.nz and they'll be able to help you out with that. Ta-ta! And Mr. Faradi says, I always like emoji guys, stone guys. Stone Skin. Hey, that's been a while. Here you go.
We would have known it was you if you just put all your emojis on there. We were like, oh yeah.
He actually put a few emojis, but I didn't make the connection.
That's true. They don't show up as big as they usually do on YouTube. So,
okay. Hey, Stone Skin, welcome back. That's been a while. Alison Turner says, splendid, thanks for that. May bring my own tonic water and gin and tonic. I think they will have tonic water.
Yes.
Definitely. Oh, that you will have. Sorry, I forgot about that. You definitely can get a gin and tonic from the bar. Yeah. So you don't need to carry liters and liters because that's going to be expensive to carry.
I would definitely just you can order tonic water at the bar. But now we have the most important question that we've had for the
Haradi has a question
for the entire live chat. This session we have the question of the week, which is: are there Pokemons on New Zealand?
Yes. If you look at what a kiwi bird look like, genuinely, it should be a Pokemon. It looks like a Pokemon. It definitely is one. So kiwi birds exist in New Zealand, and kiwi birds are literally the real life Pokemon.
Yeah. So there are real Pokemons in New Zealand, but there's also the ones you can Pokemon Go.
Yes,
you are
definitely play Pokemon Go.
If you're referring to Pokemon Go, then yes, there are indeed a lot of Pokemons you can get in New Zealand too.
Yeah, but Pokemon Go fade kind of like died down there.
Well, I think there's probably still few stragglers that are still playing Pokemon Go.
Anyway, here you go. Let me just show that. Here you go.
Now we know it's Stone Skin.
All right, cool. And Ashwin says, thanks, guys, for being very active. Very soon you will reach 1 million subscribers.
Whoa.
I don't think that's happening any soon. But thank you very much for the wishful thinking. So, guys, thank you very much for joining us for another one of our live session. We answer all your questions about traveling in New Zealand every single week on Sunday. This is on Saturday in the UK and France at 7 for UK and 8 p.m. for France. On Saturday at 2 p.m. EST in the USA and 11 PST in the USA as well. And on Sunday, 12:30 a.m. in India and 6 a.m. on Sunday in Australia. In the meantime, if you guys have questions and you don't catch us live, you put it in the comments of any of our videos and we'll get to them. And if you guys want us to be even more successful, share those videos, like, subscribe, do all this nonsense, and make us super famous.
YouTube famous.
Anyway, and again, if you are a mystery guy from the Tongariro Crossing that met Laura yesterday, tell us if you made it through.
Yes.
And yeah, guys, thank you very much. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
See you next week.